Hello, 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 beautiful people. It is January, let's see, 18th. Hi, how does it get any better than that? Like, hi, how are you? Or to life, lechaim, the equivalent of chet, the letter chet, and the letter yud in Hebrew is 18, which today is the 18th. How does it get even better than that? Well, it would be nice if all the hostages would come home. They've been in captivity for 104 days, and that's not pleasant for anybody, especially the way they're not being cared for. So, um, we did not meet yesterday. No, we didn't. I didn't show up. Well, I was energetically with you guys, but not physically with you guys because there was a lot of stuff that came up in the afternoon, which is when I was going to go live. But then different phone calls and different other things that came up. So I skipped a day. I'll just keep going. That's one of the gifts of being what's called out of control. If you follow the energy, you can be flexible. You don't have to hold on to a form and a structure and a significance of this is the way this must be. What if it doesn't? What if? Just play with me here. Like, what if something else would be possible beyond what your thinking mind, your linear mind has said this is the way things must be? And in all honesty, the past jeepers, like 3 4 days, 5 day 4 day 4, I don't know, something like that, on the reset calls with Dr. Dain began quote unquote normal. Though how do you have normal when you're creating beyond this reality? That's a whole other story. But the last few days have been conversations, energies, invitations that have been beyond um, beyond woo woo. They've been absolutely marvelous, phenomenal, world melting, reality shifting, and changing, and built on the prophet class that they just had at El Lugar, even more so. So it's absolutely phenomenal. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, check out the link. There's a link below where you can get the free call that Dain did. But like I said, that was more on the more cognitive. Well, he did cognitive the last few days as well, but they've been an energetic roller coaster of amazingness. And so this is where I kind of wanted to bring up this idea based on what we spoke about with control and how often we use being controlling against ourselves, being controlling to not allow ourselves to receive the weebly wobbliness of possibilities that are all around us. This is where we have choice. See, this is what access consciousness shows us, that there are so many different perspectives. It's our point of view that creates our reality. There are so many different ways of looking at situations where we don't have to have things defined and delineated to only be one way. They don't have to be anything that we've decided they were. They don't have to be what they were 10 seconds ago. And that's another tool that we'll explore. The choose your life in 10-second increments. But at the moment, we spoke about control a couple of days ago. Control is what we most often go to because it keeps everything controlled, defined, concluded in a box that we can label and this is who I am. I've had this stuff in the past, therefore blah blah blah. How much of the wealth, the phenomenons, the generosity, the beauty, the miraculousness of the universe are we actually totally eliminating because we are not willing to receive it, to perceive it, to be it, to embrace it, to include it, to play with it, to acknowledge it, to ask for more of it? Because it doesn't seem, quote unquote, intense, dense, and real enough, or it doesn't line up with what we've decided before. So everything that is, And everywhere we've lived our life from, this is the way it is, could we destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion and begin to ask for, what else is possible that I've never imagined before? What else is available? What else is playable with? What miracles could we invite into being? What else is possible if you're willing to be like really, really willing to just experiment and explore with being out of control, meaning out of how you've presented yourself. Out of control is not being pulled by puppet strings. It's not saying, oh, well, I'm a person who always gets angry, so every time you're going to pull that string, I'm going to get angry. No, it's beyond that. So there's a tool we use in Access quite regularly, and it's beautiful. It's letting go of everything that you think you are and think you've known. Um, Everything that we've been choosing, oftentimes, so we've been taught to look at the past to know what is right now. The thing is, there's nothing that's bigger than your awareness. You can know about what went on in the past, certainly, but don't let it be the only thing that colors your awareness of what's present and what's possible, right? So when you only allow yourself to choose being around people or the foods that you might want to eat, you don't actually include your body because you're like, I always have a reaction to this kind of food, or I'll eat strawberries and break out, or whatever thing that might be, or this person always behaves like this. They're always mean to me. We're not actually present with who is there. And we've already decided and concluded that we are whoever we were before. Yesterday, 10 minutes ago, 10 years ago, and we've decided that's all there is to it. Look at how we limit ourselves by deciding that we are whoever we were before. We are still living whatever that was. Talk about post-traumatic stress disorder in action. So what do? What if we let go of everything that we were yesterday? As if we're a math equation and we just go, hey, bye, minus. I'm going to let that shit go. What if we just let it go and go, who the frick am I? Who am I? Everything that I have been up till now, everything I've chosen, everything I've decided, everything I've concluded, any judgment that I may have had about the world, about health, about nutrition, about, whatever, you name it, about politics, whatever I've known before, whatever I've decided I've known before, right? Because it's our thinking about it that defines it. So all of those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions, those choices, those decisions, those judgments, those conclusions, those computations, all of those things, all of those calculations, trying to see where we fit, where we benefit based on who we've predetermined that we're not really. So everything that is, everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it all? And destroy and uncreate everything that you as an infinite being are not, so that you can begin to embrace and choose from a fresh page, from a new possibility, from this very moment, something that's different, that's adventurous, that's delightful, that's yummy, that's different. Because if every choice you make for the future is based on who you were 10 seconds ago, 10 minutes ago, 10 years ago, 10 lifetimes ago even, then you've always got an anchor point to something else. In class, in school, to draw a circle, you have to stick a point in, right? And you've got the other for the, I think it's called a compass, right? And you have the pencil there and you've got this metal point, you pop it in. That's your holding on to the past. That's your anchoring to whatever was, right? And you put that in, and then you get your bigger circles, your smaller circles, or whatever. But when you lift that point, you let go of what was, you let go of what you've decided is so real and true, suddenly a whole new world of possibilities, of adventures, of experiences are possible for you that you would not have available to you beforehand. So if you have a point of view that you're you're shy, or that you must have a particular thing, or that you're a victim, or that everybody always hates us, which, is kind of intense sometimes, you're literally carrying a burden that's not really fun to shoulder. So what else is possible when you let that go? And one of my favorite questions that Dr. Dain gives is one called, if I know not this. Now, as infinite beings, if I know not this, what else is possible? Because my head already went in a different direction. I realized there was a story I was telling you the other day that I didn't finish, but that's okay, because that's just my ADD brain. If you don't put it in the comment, I won't necessarily remember. But if I know not this, what else is possible means if I'm not operating from what I have already concluded and filtered and decided and predetermined and assumed and presumed, then I can see something else available. I don't have to have that point of reference. I can actually choose something fresh, like a fresh cup of coffee. You don't have to drink the dregs that were made yesterday. Why the fuck would you do that to yourself? Why would you eat old spoiled leftovers from a week ago rather than make something new and fresh for yourself? Even if it's, picking berries from the bush that's growing in your garden, or whatever it is, to delight, to enjoy, to revel, to be present in your life. It's not using your past experiences as a point of reference for the creation of possibilities or for the ongoing destruction of yourself. Because how often do we keep punishing ourselves because of an experience we may have had in the past? We're not that anymore. Okay? We were that before. We're not that now. So we don't have to hold on to the story of they did this to me, therefore I must stay mad. And one of my best experiences with that was when I found these tools. My daughter Nestle was 4.5. And so she's grown up around a lot of this stuff. And I remember years ago already, she must have been 9 or 10, something like that. And I was mad at her for something because, parenting, living, kids. So I was mad at her for something. And I said something to the effect of, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And she turned to me and said, Mom, that was a lot of 10 seconds ago. And here you are still talking about it. Why don't you just move on? And she said the same thing to me. And they've said, both my kids have said these things to Gary Douglas, to the founder of Access Consciousness, saying these adults in the classes are so freaking stupid because they keep going back to the stories. They keep going back to the trauma. They keep going back and holding on to it and then judging every new possibility based on who they've defined themselves as. You don't have to stay mad at anyone. You don't have to keep going back to the story of I was abused or I was a victim or I was this or I was that. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I get it. And you are so much more than that. When you're willing to be grateful for every experience that you've had in life, and some of them suck. However, if you're willing to ask, what is the gift here? What is the beautiful energy that's available to me here? What is right about this that I've never seen before? I've never acknowledged before. What is it? And I will go back to something I mentioned before years ago when my parents had someone visiting us in Israel years and years ago. And my mom took, I think, some uncle from France or something, took him to the museum in Tel Aviv of the diaspora. And my mother's she's a survivor of the Holocaust. So she's had a lot of anger, a lot of frustration since. And so is this uncle. But as he was walking out of the museum, he looked up, there was some mural that was there. My mom has told me this story many times. He said, you see, if we didn't have that, we wouldn't have Israel now, because the world wouldn't have allowed for Israel to exist. So this maybe a silly metaphor, but there is a gift in everything. There is a silver lining, you could say, or a beautiful energy, if you'd like to look at it that way, to everything, if we're willing to actually see the bigger picture. Yes, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, life, we live on a planet. We're human beings having an experience here. I'll never forget. This is not access, but it's just something that popped so much for me. I love to listen to Esther Hicks and the channelings of Abraham. I don't listen to them all the time, but once in a while I put them on and they're really cool. And there's one that she has about dogs. Why are dogs so amazing? I love dogs. I love animals. And why, the question that she received, why do they like to put their head out of the window, in the onslaught of the wind? Right? That's coming at them in the window, even though there are bugs that fly in their mouth and everything else. And she said, that is the most brilliant question that anyone could ask. And dude in the crowd is like laughing. What do you mean? And she said, it's because of the contrast. Yes, the dog is getting, the thrill and the ride and the wind and the experience and everything. And yeah, gets bugs in its mouth also. But that's part of the contrast of the experience. Not everything in life is going to be absolutely phenomenal. But as the mantra of Access Consciousness says, all of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. This is where we have a choice, how we approach a situation. Are we going to let that situation dominate us? Or are we going to be the bigger energy? Are we going to be the ones saying, there is something here that's bigger than anything that I could imagine in me? If we are energy and space and consciousness, what capacity do we have to be so present, so spacious, so us, the truth of us, the energy, the space, and the consciousness, energia, merchav, and toda'ah, the emet, the truth of who we are? When we're willing to be that, something else is possible that we would have never imagined before. So when we destroy and uncreate everywhere we've made ourselves finite and small and miserable, everywhere we've let ourselves be limited by the experiences that we've had before, rather than receiving them as a gift, as looking for the beautiful energy, for the awareness that we may be receiving from different situations. Everything that doesn't allow us to zoom back and have a bigger picture and see much more of what's available to us, to see the gift of us and our experiences beyond whatever happened 10 seconds ago, 10 days ago, yesterday, 10 minutes ago, whatever, right? Everything that was, I destroy and uncreate it. I get out of the story. I de-story. I let it go. I let it go so I can choose to be fresh. And I use the clearing statement: right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. I no longer have a povad, a point of view that I'm avoiding or that I'm defending for or against, because I'm just willing to let it go and be fresh in the moment. So everything that I was, bye-bye, Charlie, all done. And now who am I in these 10 seconds? Everything that I was yesterday, everything I decided that I was before, I can take off. I no longer have to burden the yoke of all of those points of view. And now, who am I? And now, what is possible? Who the fuck am I? And what else is possible I've never imagined? So if I know not this, if I know not all of that baggage, all of those decisions, all of those judgments and conclusions and calculations and experiences and reasons and justifications and all of those reference points, suddenly I have a whole new view. I have a whole new trajectory. I have a whole new experience available to me from this moment on. And so I wonder if you begin to play with this tool to destory everything you thought you were, and begin anew each day, each moment. What else is possible? What would you be able to tap into that you know? What is it that only you become aware of and can bring and invite us to on the planet? This is a pretty cool frickin' planet we get to live on. Yeah, there's some fucked up people in it. But if we're willing to be the lightness and we're willing to be, you know what, this doesn't work for me, and all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory, then I can keep choosing what's going to create more lightness, what's going to create more ease, what's going to create more possibilities for me and for the world. So I want to thank you guys, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Arrivederci. And I hope to God I never have to keep wearing these stickers again. So thank you. Thank you all. Bye.